G'day, welcome back to NerdCulture Australia. My name's Cannon Fodder, and we are going to be talking about Secret Level. This is on Amazon Prime for anybody who still hasn't watched it yet. If you haven't, absolutely go see this. Cannot recommend this enough. This was an anthology series on various video games. So stories based within the video games, or even just maybe exploring a little bit of the lore. I binge watched the whole thing. This is not going to be an episodic one. This is going to be an entire season review. If indeed there is a second season, I will cover that as well. But right now we have one season. It is 15 episodes, and all of them were really well done. As I said in the short, a lot of them paid like proper amounts of homage to the source material. They were very cleverly done, very well written, very well animated. And I thoroughly enjoyed all of them. We'll do a quick breakdown of all of them. Episode, not necessarily plot lines, because there was just so much there to kind of remember and interact with. And this was also over Christmas, and it's now midway through January when I'm recording this. So if you want more detail and an episodic breakdown, I can go back and rewatch them. They're still there. But the scant notes that I did take was episode 1 was D&D. That was a very easy story to follow. That was very cleverly done. I enjoyed it a lot. The action was good. It's your standard good versus evil. I did feel a little bit bad for one of the characters. It was a dragon. He didn't make it. So episode 2 was called Sifu. That was a bit of a sad story. It's about a young guy seeking revenge, and when he gets his revenge, he becomes an old guy. The fight scenes were badass. Like that was cool, but at the same time, it was just like, oh, that's depressing. Episode 3 was kind of amusing. The little bit that I do remember about it was a king who was trying to invade an island with a gigantic army and navy. The army and navy didn't make it, but him and his manservant did. Well, his manservant lost an arm. But in his quest for riches and rulership of the island, he loses track of what is actually important to him. And by the end of it, obviously, he ends up redeeming himself. That was cool. I think Arnold Schwarzenegger voices him. The voice acting sounded familiar. That was funny. Episode 4. Ooh, crap. All my notes say it says was brutal. So I'll need to just quickly look this up. Episode 4 was Unreal Tournament. That's why I said was brutal. I didn't really understand that there was much of a story behind Unreal Tournament other than people with guns shooting each other in kind of an arena. I played Unreal Tournament when I was growing up. It was cool. It was fun. I loved dual-wielding pistols in that because I was kind of trash with everything else. The robot wins. Episode 4 was brutal. Speaking of brutal, Episode 5. Episode 5 is the one that kind of everybody really talks about because I am a massive Warhammer 40k fan and nerd and lore nut, and so everybody, like all the 40k people that I watch that have seen this goes, go watch Secret Level, the 40k episode was awesome. 40k was 40k. It was I very likey a lot. Titus shows up, so it was very 40k-esque. The grim darkness and the horror was absolutely there. Moving on. Episode 6, I believe, was Pac-Man. Supposedly. Pardon my French, but what the fuck? He didn't really know it was Pac-Man until the very end. Yeah. That was... What? The actual... yeah, nah, no, I didn't understand that. at all. I didn't. Yeah, that was Pac-Man. I didn't. Mm. Let me see. What are we up to next? We're up to episode 7. I don't know what Crossfire is. I didn't really understand what was going on. I kind of confused by the whole story. You had two groups that were shooting at each other over a man with a briefcase. Yeah, that one was. I didn't get that. Episode 8, Armored Core, starring Keanu Reeves as a pilot. It's nice to see Keanu with a different haircut. That is the biggest takeaway I have from that. Gundams fighting Gundams? Absolutely. Very good. But yeah, mostly Keanu Reeves with a different haircut. That was... Yep. Episode 9 was depressing. That was for The Outer Worlds. So that was, yeah, about one guy sacrificing everything to be with somebody who has no interest in him at the end of the day because she's busy pursuing her own goals. But again, I was never really invested or interested in the game to begin with. Episode 10, Mega Man, where you get to see the origin of the suit. I never played Mega Man, but I am familiar with the game in part. The next one, Exodus. That was another sad story. They kind of explore the idea of not necessarily time travel, but the time and distance spent traveling between stars and galaxies can have different effects upon different people depending on where you're at. So the story begins with a man and his daughter. The daughter is bored by the world that she lives on, so she escapes. The man catches wind of the fact that his daughter is in trouble and so leaves the planet as well to go and find her. But given the way that space travel and time shenanigans works, he actually ends up being younger than her when they finally meet up. And so she basically lives out the rest of her life in his company. And then he, when she passes, he goes off to travel the world himself. That was, yeah, it was a sad one as well. Episode 12 was Spelunky. It was a little bit Tom Cruise-y, live, die, repeat. But then again, that is Spelunky and all games that are like that. So they, I think, what was it? The end one, the end message for that was, every life you live is special. The marks on the walls aren't the amount of deaths you had, but the amount of adventures you've been on, or something like that. Episode 3, Concord. Stop trying to make this game a thing. We all know what happened. The game was killed a week after it was released, or whatever it was. That's about as much as I know about that. Moving on. Episode 14. That was cool. I don't really have any other words for that to describe that one, but it was like a man and a machine playing chess for the fate of a city. Or whatever it was they were playing. It was like, yeah, checkers, chess, something. Like, dude, go. That's another one that people have to go watch. Yeah. Episode 14, Honor of Kings, The Way of All Things. That was, yeah. And then finally, episode 15 was very Ready Player One. So there was, and that had a lot of stuff from. And the reason why I say Ready Player One was because it had a lot of call-ins from a lot of other games, right? So you had the Helldivers were there. You had characters from other. There's just too many to count and too many to list off. And again, it was a while back when I watched this. So the Helldivers was the big one the big one that stood out was it's Helldivers. I play that game frequently. So it's very easy to stick in the mind. But again, lots of characters going, lots of things happening by way of video game references within this episode. So it wasn't necessarily one game, but rather a lot of little bits of everything all at once. Hence, Ready Player One. Also another cool film. So yeah, that secret level of all of them. Episode 1 was obviously easy to follow. For those who are familiar with D&D, you'll be able to pick out characters and what they do with that. The second one was poignant and sad. The third one was funny with a heartfelt message. The fourth one was Unreal Tournament. And yeah, the combat in that one makes that worth watching. Episode 5 is 40k, and again, if you just wanted to watch one episode, watch that. Episode 6 you could miss if you wanted to, because again, what the fuck was going on? Yeah. Episode 7, you can miss that one. Episode 8, Armored Core, Keanu Reeves, again, also a good one. Outer Worlds, sad. 50-50. You can watch it, you can don't. It doesn't really end anything. Mega Man was a nice short one. That was cool. Exodus was sad. But beautifully animated. That was cool too. Again, so also worth a watch. Spelunky, worth a watch. Episode 13, skip it. Episode 14, watch it. Awesome. Episode 15, meh. So out of the 15 episodes, you've got 6 or so. What is it? 14, 12, 11, 8, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. 9. There are 9 episodes out of 15 that are absolutely worth watching this for. But if I had to pick 2, it would be 40k, episode 5, and episode 14. Those 2, 5 and 14. 2 episodes. If you only had time to watch 2, those are the 2 that I would pick. Albeit one of them does have a heavy amount of bias behind it, but yeah, who's counting? Anyway, that's it. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video. Thank you all for watching.